Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to Katawa Shoujo. The students roll into the class of the new day for the Saturday morning session. Each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through the classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Yeah. Without saying the word, he scrolls some page and question numbers on the board and slams down his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not one to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made this class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. Yes! For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present. Yes! Probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice.
Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment?
I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure. What's this about?
It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom.
Something about this doesn't sound good, but I stand up and follow him onto the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently.
So, tell me, how are things?
Thanks? I expect Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits.
You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things?
Fine, I guess.
I see, and how's your condition?
The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Muto's face.
Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard.
I think if anything, that nurse would think we are not doing anything.
He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't.
That makes sense.
I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me?
I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid.
Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we?
I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs the information.
Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning.
I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to keep up with these things, right?
That's exactly it. One wrong move in the world and you're left behind, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. Right. Wouldn't want that to happen.
No, you wouldn't. Every week there is a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing.
I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability.
Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we?
My relief at the suggestion is unsurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto paused for a moment.
I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before.
For an instant I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back in the classroom. I mean, there is kind of truth to that. that the teacher is the boss until you graduate. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slam on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it will appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away, until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment.
Before you all leave, I expect the answer for those problems by Monday.
The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind, try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lilly. It's weird that Lilly comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. I mean, yeah, but it's none of my business. And I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lid splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharper feel like they are breaking the boot in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lilly. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lilly leaves down the hall and Hanako moves back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out to the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, her slender frame reaching to her back and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that is the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, that's right. I think Lily mentioned something about going to town before Rim bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sign and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon make me yearn to get out of school, or at least to do something other than sit here. Giving it to one of my worst vices, procrastination, I say that history is a subject best studied on Sunday, or a Monday, or any day than this one. I give a grunt as I let myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of personality, really. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tags, I briefly entertained the idea of talking with Hanako, but by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. There is got to be something to do that I can kill the time. Go to the library. Go for a walk into the town. Guys, what do you guys think? I mean, he literally said where Lilly probably went, right? So, current scene, SIP, part 2. Now the question is, do we go to the library or do we go to the town? I mean, he said that Lily's going to the town, but then also again, Lilly also went to the town yesterday, right? So why would we go there again? I guess. But we'll go to the town again. Let's go again. Yes, let's do it. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. There was a reason she left the classroom after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lilly. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me despite her other, obviously, taxing duties. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find her. The exercise will do me some good as well. Walking through the school courtyard. Did it change? No, it's still. Walking through the school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates, the gesture being returned in kind. Even from here, the shouts of the sports club members can be heard. From the sheer volume of the din, the truck must be packed right now. I remember what Willie said yesterday about being dropped in right in the middle of busy time for a school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on stuff that I've missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated, at least not yet. Well, I guess not everything's bad. This is private school, and that much is really noticed when walking around outside. Not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate, and quite divorced from the time a dozen concrete blocks of public schools. There is also the fact that there is a much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their clique and be done with it. I eventually reached the gate and began to walk down the road and into the town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decided to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in the city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strikes me as incredibly unusual. All that's to be seen are the odd elderly person shuffling along the sidewalk and assorted busily chatting pairs of middle-aged women outside of small storefronts. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, for making me realize that I perhaps pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on prospect of soldiering on. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take a deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. The stay in hospital, the surgery, the medication must be taking their toll on me. Damn it! Eventually my breathing returns to normal and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn. In any case, there's a cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. Oh no, not this one. A little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. For a few minutes I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and again drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service bell. Eventually a door some ways behind the counter opens, the person emerging from it taking me by a complete surprise. Yuko? Hi! I had no idea you worked here. I really have no idea how to address her either, given that she's technically school staff as well as apparently a waitress. Yes, She quickly paces up to the counter before flinging her upper half downwards in an overreacted bow. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? Straight down to business, I see. I don't know. Some coffee, please? Yes, certainly. I'll make it right away and bring it to you when it's done. Thanks. Thanks, yeah. Yuko's formality takes me aback. She seems to take her job very seriously. Obeying her instructions, I turn around and quickly glance around for a free table. Considering the cafe seems to be empty, this is a simple task to accomplish. As I walk towards the table adjacent to the window, I notice a flash of yellow around one of the table dividers. Sure enough, no more than a glance is needed to ascertain that it's certain Sato at the table. That said, I don't recognize the suited figure across the table from her. Blonde, fair-skinned, and only a little shorter. She? I think she must be a relative. Since the two are all but silent, As the suited figure takes a swig from a cup of coffee, I decide to greet Lily. Some part of my coming here was in order to meet her, after all. Hi, Lily.
Hisao.
Oh, yeah, nice to see you again. The suited girl looks up, nothing my uniform with a relaxed smile.
Know each other?
I guess it's as good as an approximation of our relationship. It's as good an approximation of our relationship as I can think of. Oh.
Care to take a seat?
She says this to the air beside me, but the message is clear enough and I take a seat beside her.
I suppose so introduction might be in order. Hisao, this is Akira Sato, my older sister. Akira, this is Hisao Nakai, another Yamaku student.
Looks like my guess was correct. The newly introduced Akira gives a nod, which I return. What I don't return, however, is the almost uncanny gaze with which she looks me over. As she does so, Yuko looks out the table and carefully places the coffee on the table before bowing and taking her leave. Gently bring my hand to the side of the cup. I realize that it's already at just the right temperature to drink. After taking a sip, the flavor turns out to be just as good as the temperature. Yuko seems a lot better at this than being a librarian. I take a good long drink before relaxing the seat. It takes me seconds for Akira's examination to come to an end. Apparently becoming quickly bored with the activity, she turns to her sister.
So, how's school recently?
It seems Akira is entirely unconcerned with someone she does know at all, listening to everything they say. Not that I mind. Leaving them to their chatting, I sit back and continue drinking the pleasantly aromatic coffee.
Sounds like it's pretty busy for you, then. At least I'm not cooking your meals after school anymore.
As they talk, I so realize that I'm entirely unable to gauge Lily's emotions through her eyes, as I would for any other person. It becomes slightly unsettling as I subconsciously focus on that fact.
Whoa, so cold. Weren't you just cooking for yourself anyway? I only ever got leftovers. That's not the point. Are you managing to feed yourself at least? I can cook without blowing myself up, you know. Mostly. That... It's fine. I needed to learn it sometime anyway. Lily?
Everyone present is momentarily distracted by Yuko, who places a cup of tea on the table for Lily. Taking one to glance at her watch, Akira levers herself off her seat and gives me a quick nod.
Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lily.
Also, that expression. Luffy, trying to lie.
Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lily. Akira, do you have to...
Lily looks genuinely mournful at her sister's leaving. It does seem like she might have the wrong idea.
Sorry, I need to get back to work. They'll be on my neck if I don't make it back quickly.
So informal. Akira's trim and tidy appearance would give anyone the wrong impression of her.
Bye, Akira. Come on, don't look so down. I'll be around again soon. See us.
With that, she walks out of the Shankai with her hand held high. Lee still looks pretty depressed, so I try to make small talk in an effort to take her mind off of it. She seems nice.
We used to live together, but now that I live at school, we hardly ever see each other.
Despite Liv having been quite affable, I still don't really know much about her. In hindsight, just surprising just how much she's extracted from me, really. You used to live together? Was it somewhere around here?
It was pretty far south, so the trip to Yamaku was fairly long. With her working hours getting longer and Yamaku being so far away, there was little choice in the end but to move into dormitories.
Well, that explains the chatter about cooking. Evidently regaining her composure, she livens back up, at least in part.
I take it you're better rested now.
Sorry?
You sound less exhausted than you did when you first came in.
Ow! To be able to pick out my breathing like that, she must have pretty good ears. I mean, that's how it works, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure, but losing one like vision enhances your hearing, for example, right? Yeah, end up walking all over town, despite only planning on taking a short walk down here. It reminds me of my first from the walk. I leaned forward to take a sip. Without further ado, Lilly starts on her cup of strong smelling tea. I guess I'd better get going back to Yamaku. There is only so long I can stall studying for, and I want to get a good night's sleep before the festival. Staying from my seat, I take the coffee-stained cup from the table.
You're leaving?
Yeah? You going to head back as well? It's getting kind of late. For a moment she pauses before lifting her face over her teacup as if she was looking at me.
Yuka, could we have one more coffee, please?
Oh!
Okay, I'll bring it right away. That's not subtle.
She gives a short giggle at my frank assessment of her maneuver. It's surprisingly childish and carefree, given her otherwise collected appearance. That was sneaky, I like it. In the end, though, I have little reason to refuse. To be honest, I can hardly say no, all things considered. Giving a manufacturer's side, take a seat opposite her. Wanting company then?
I'd say that it's more that I was wondering.
I see she's in questioning mode again. She does seem to be unusually interested in me, or at least curious.
Do you have any siblings?
Not exactly an unexpected tangent. No, only child. Same, by the way. To be honest, the idea of having someone that close makes me a bit envious. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Interesting.
I raise an eyebrow, which of course goes unseen. The short silence communicates the question well enough.
It's just that others have said the same thing before. It's a difficult subject to try and think about objectively, even though I have always had someone like that.
I can mostly understand what he means, given that it would be hard to place oneself outside the situation they've been in all their life. She and her sister must have a pretty close relationship, taking pains to interrupt us as little as possible. Yuka dutifully comes over and places the cup on the table. Lee thanks her as I sit back, taking this vexing girl in front of me. Despite always seeming to be on her guard and in control of herself when talking to others, she has an almost childlike curiosity about other people. That said, those rare moments she seems to slightly lower her guard are the most insightful into how she thinks. Reaching forward for my drink, I realized something I probably should have noticed earlier. I think I'm starting to become kind of curious about her. Yeah! Despite making a good pace, it's already nightfall by the time I reach the large iron gates in front of the school. While it's nice to have plenty of time to wander around by virtue of living right next to the school, I can't help but get the feeling that very few students actually take the opportunity. Compared to the number of students I see milling around on campus during free time, it's startlingly rare to see anyone around town. Given the large number of accommodations and facilities that the school offers, many of them might simply not see any point in venturing outside, let alone people such as Hanako and Kenji. It makes you wonder if students like Shizune, Misha, Lilly are the exception for the school rather than the norm. As I wander back to my dorm room, I continue to compare my old school with Yamaku. As I do so, I begin to realize that I managed to get even this used to everything that's happened to me. End of scene. Ah, I thought so. Oh, I hope I can cover still one more. The next day I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine since it's a Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday though, but the festival as well. From my window I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low quality food. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There will be a few exams in the comic week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji is up to today out of the impulse. I'm curious if he has any plans, since everyone is doing something. Then again, I can picture him having built a soundproof shelter in his room. Or possibly something like a fort, complete with "No Gator Salute!" sign. And with the girls crossed out and body crudely scrawled underneath it. Knocking on his door, which is luckily devoid of any kind of sign, I hear again the unsettling clicking of at least 10 locks being pulled back. The door opens up a crack.
Who is it?
You're supposed to ask that before you open the door.
Oh, it's you? Damn, it's early.
It's not really that early.
What is it, man?
Nothing. Was just gonna ask what you're gonna do today. How the school is out there already.
Out where? Why?
What?
What? It's so special? What are there? Who are? I can hear them. It's loud. Don't tell me. Has the invasion begun?
He suddenly looks more alarmed.
What is, man?
Yeah, I guess you can see the big wooden booths outside and people selling stuff.
What the heck, about? I have my curtains closed at all the time to thwart the snipers.
It's a festival. You know that, right?
Oh, shit, that's today. Oh, damn it. I can't believe I forgot. I don't have my fourth finish yet. This is bad. This is going to be a very bad day. It's good you told me this, man. This is going to be a bad day.
Why?
Oh, man, we're going to be everywhere. The people outside my window, socializing.
Kenji wraps his temples nervously, suddenly looking very ill.
It's going to be loud as hell. Damn, and I was going to go out today, but no, it's ruined. Everything is ruined. This is awful. This sucks. This sucks. What the hell? This really sucks. I can't go anywhere now. There is nowhere to run.
Kenji seems nervous. You could even say he's majorly freaking out.
I can't believe this. So that's what today was. Damn, and I couldn't even prepare for it. I couldn't even brace myself, and now it's here and I can't do anything. You should have told me this earlier, dude. I mean, at least I know, but I could have known earlier. Imagine what I could have accomplished.
I mean, you were working for the preparation for the festival, right? So how did you not know? Now, with the previous route, we didn't know he worked on it. Now we know. So he should know when the festival is taking place. Anyway, sorry, I thought you knew. So I guess you're not going to do anything today. The weather is even good. Yesterday was really windy, so I thought today would be cold. It's not fall, so there is no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, you should check the festival out. Kenji groans and covers his face with his hands.
No, I can't do it. They'll eat me alive out there, I know it.
That has to be a joke, but he said it with such a straight face. Relatively straight.
What are you going to do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. We might still make it if we work together.
I don't know, I'm pretty hungry, so I thought I'd get some food first and then check out the attractions. Your class project seemed pretty cool and I gave a hand with it, so I want to see at least that one and chat with Lilly, I guess. Speaking of that, don't you have any obligations for the project?
Are you out of your mind? That blind broad is up to no good. I can feel it in my spleen, man. Her presence is like a dark shadow that's in the way of my great vision. As expected of blind people.
What? Besides, I thought that you were also... He holds up his hand to interrupt me.
Only legally. Metaphorically, I can see further than any man before man has seen.
Kenji looks stoically into the metaphorical distance to emphasize his statement, thrusting his chin forward to look manlier. Actually, it's just the corridor wall 2 meters away, but it's all the same.
I can see the future of mankind. It's dark one unless the threat of woman is stiffened. They are everywhere.
He fingers his scarf nervously. faster and faster, like he's trying to start a fire. Then slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course.
I'm going to have to find some place to hide it, a safe haven, and then knock the lights out of myself so that they don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival.
Okay.
Later, dude.
The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki from a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland tasting item. I guess I shouldn't complain, it's better than nothing and didn't cost much. As I look out towards the school, watching the people coming and going proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing time as I eat. Little children accompanied by parents or grandparents scamper about in the din from event to event. One hand dragging their companion and the other bearing an oversized colorful snack. I can't help but notice the age range among the people here is skewed towards the elderly. Something that I also noticed when I was walking around town. Which I guess kind of is correct for the Japanese small towns, right? I feel like people are going to the big cities from the small places, which is kind of sad, because the small places also have the charm, right? And so on. This must be one of the towns where the only people left are those that live here their whole lives and ardently refuse to leave, and those wanting to live out the rest of their days is one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes away to explaining how conservative Yamaku's school culture seems to be. Not that I mind one bit, I kind of like how calm Yamaku and its surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place for so long has focused my mind how annoyingly humid it's getting now that the hottest part of the day is here. I better get moved. The sound of the carillon bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few of the people strolling around as well. The PA system crackles to life after the tolling bell's end. Its age shows as the principal makes a barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of the older folk against the alternatively pained and bored grimaces of their younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay it little heed. Nevertheless, as the others finally ends, all are united in polite, if not overly enthusiastic, applause, and then get back to business. Slipping a hand in my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance around for something to do. It's somewhat difficult to see very far with all the people around. I decide to fall back on a tried and trusted rule. Go where everyone else seems to be gathering. Right now, there's the school courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate into the trash can, I make my way towards the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprised me. Quite a few of the classes must have opted to have multiple stalls.
Oh, sorry.
In deciding which to visit first, I catch sight of a familiar banner with a blue pattern border and red text. Lee's stall is as good a place to start as any. I'm curious as to how it's going after all of the work she and her class have been doing for it. Nice. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Easily twice as wide as many of the other stalls, and with the equipment for cooking strewn everywhere, it's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. A student in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leaves. I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exasperated and asks me to wait a moment before she disappears underneath the counter. Says the moment I take a quick glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere as pots and pans simmer away. The most blind of the students are unpacking ingredients while being helped by someone who is probably the teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lilly among them, talking with the teacher as she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From her expression and the fact that both she and the teacher seem to be in a state of mild confusion, it appears that there has been some problem in coordination. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again and only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lilly pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere.
Sorry about that. We're having a few problems. What would you like?
It takes me a second to remember what I come for. My eyes quickly dart to the side to read the menu sitting on the counter. I guess, miso soup?
Huh? Is that Hisao?
Yep. Looks like you're pretty busy. Her face all but confirms it as she drops her waitress facade.
Somewhere along the line, our order got mixed up. We're trying to fix now, but it looks like we only have half of what we needed.
Wouldn't serving small portions cover out the problem?
It seems like that's what we'll have to do, for I wish we didn't. The fact that a good half our class is gone doesn't help either.
I glance behind her to see how many people are actually operating the stall. It couldn't be over about 8. It's good that I'm here, right? I take it that's why your teacher left?
That's right, she's going to try and round up a few more of our classmates to help.
Hearing the sound of footsteps behind me, I stealthily glance backward to see an elderly couple taking place in the line. I guess I better stop loitering around and chatting. Here is money for the soup.
So, alright, coming right up.
Lee turns and calls for a bowl of miso soup as I hand over the money for it. Taking the coins in her palm, I can't help but notice how efficiently she counts them out with her long, pale fingers. And when she's satisfied that I've handed over correct change, she puts it into a small metal tray. It is long before the soup is made and carefully handed to her, after which she turns and subsequently passes it to me. Thanks, I'll come back to drop off the bowl.
Thank you, Hisao. Oh, there's one other thing. Have you seen Hanako?
Oh, no, not today. Why? She gives a small sigh of abject disappointment.
It's okay. I was just wondering what she was doing for the festival. You'll come back when you're done then?
Sure, I'll keep an eye out for her too.
Thank you, Hisao.
I walk off from the stall and find a seat, carefully grabbing the steaming wooden bowl in both hands. Compared to the dumplings brought before, this is quite nice. A little cool compared to what it probably should be, but the flavor is enough to cover for that reasonably well. As I drink, I can't help but feel somewhat guilty for not being too as involved in the festival as the others. You don't need to feel bad, man. If you manage to go through entire festival, during the entire festival, through all the stalls, you are forgiven. It can't really be helped, considering I was dropped into school only a week ago, but it still weighs heavily on my mind. That and the fact that a few students don't really seem to be enjoying the festival as much as the visitors. Eventually I finish my bowl and leave for the stall to drop it off. Considering that there seems to be no line at all, I take my time walking up. It seems that teacher's mission paid off. There are now over a dozen students helping, and much of the unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed, as the work list appears to be somewhat stressed. Right, I know what I'll do, even if it's just one person. I'll make the festival more enjoyable for her. As I place the bowl on the counter, I call out to Lilly.
Hisao, you brought it back?
Yeah, here. She slides it into her hands, and she takes it over to someone who is apparently on cleaning duty. Considering that I didn't see them there before, it's probably a penalty for their tardiness. Hey, Lilly. She perks up and returns to the counter as she hears my voice again, realizing that I'm still here. Want to go see some more of the festival? She puffs her cheek disapprovingly. It looks kind of cute and in complete contradiction to her usually reserved nature. She blushed. It takes a few seconds for me to get what she's taking issue with. Whoops! I didn't mean to... Lilly giggles at me, exposing her teasing for what it is.
You're still not used to the school, are you?
She got me.
Still, I kind of need to say with our stall, it's taken until just now to even get everything unpacked.
I guess her reluctance shouldn't overly surprise me, considering how much work she's put into this. Everything seems to be running fine now, besides you've got extra help on hand, right? Anyway, right? A boy in the middle of cooking some soba noodles turns towards us grinning. Go on, Lils! You've earned yourself a break! We can hold the fort for now!
If you say it's okay, then I suppose so. But if you need any help,
then we'll call you! Go on! We'll be fine! Lily finally gives up her stance as she waves a spatula at her. She feels her way around the back of the stall and picks up her cane on the way. I guess the first thing we should do is look for Hanako. Lily seems kind of worried about her, and I doubt she'd be the kind of person to enjoy milling about in crowds like this all alone. So, I guess we should first search for Hanako. Where to first? The both of us go quiet for a moment to think. Library?
maybe she's in her dorm room.
Maybe she's in her dorm room.
I doubt it. She doesn't keep too many things in there, so she'd have nothing to do. Ah, the library.
As good a place as any to search for an avid reader, I suppose. The library it is. We'll check there first then. Aside from the muffled sounds of the crowd seeping in from outside, the inside of the school seems almost deserted. In order to make sure everyone had enough room, I guess all the events were organized to be held outside, on school grounds. They are definitely quite large by any other school's standards.
It's nice and quiet here, isn't it?
Yeah, much nicer than the hustle and bustle outside. We take our time and slowly walk through the first floor of the school, eventually reaching the stairs to the second one. I can't help but notice how Lily anticipates every door and obstacle, her cane remaining still and her hands skating along the hallway railings. You really know the school well, don't you? She smiles and nods straight ahead.
I've been here for a few days now. So,
Did I say days?
for a few years now, so I know where everything is. The dorms still trip me up for sometimes. I haven't been there as long and they are not as well laid out as the main building. If I'm remembering right, they used to be unused buildings before being renovated and used as dormitories.
That explains why the male and female dorms look different from the outside, and why the rooms seem kind of unusual for sleeping quarters. I assume she'd be living in the dormitory since she began attending the school, but now I'm reminded of what she said yesterday. That's right. You mentioned that before. I assume that most of the students here lived in the dormitories once they enrolled. A lot of them seem to, in any case. Lily's expression becomes somewhat harder to read, my questioning evidently touching on a delicate point.
Well, how should I say? Everyone has their reasons.
Something tells me that one of those with reasons is Hanako, hence her tiptoeing around the answer. My own predicament is yet another such a case. I guess it's a choice everyone here would have to make for themselves, or in my instance, have made for them. It can be helped, I suppose. At least Yamaku itself seems like a nice place.
It's good to hear you say that. I thought you were coming to dislike it.
What about you for? My reversal of Lee's statement takes her by surprise.
I've been here for a while, so...
It's not that... You just seem pretty depressed about Akira. What's with that look?
Akira's taken. Sorry, Hisao.
What? Lee never sees how fast my palm meets my face at her sly accusation. Hey, I was worried about you. There's no way to respond to concern. While she gives me a amused grin, we round the corner of the hallway and enter the library. As we do it, it isn't hard to spot Hanako, considering that the room is completely devoid of anyone else. Given that there are no staff around, I guess there is no need to heed the usual library rules. I call out to her. Hey Hanako!
Hanako is here?
As she hears our voices, Hanako's head flicks out from behind the book, probably the same one she'd been reading on Friday.
Hisao, Lily?
Just thought we'd drop by. We just managed to escape from the noodle stall with a little help.
That wasn't really an escape.
Hanako gives a small giggle, briefly surprising both of us.
I just thought that Lily might not be enjoying the festival.
Well, now we can enjoy it together, right? Huh? The two not happy before, we set out of the library and towards the festivities. I hand over some change to the girl behind the counter and take the two styrofoam cups of tea. I try to accentuate my bow a bit to cover for the fact that she's quite obviously deaf. Come to think of it, I probably should have asked for help instead of leaving those two in gardens while I brought drinks. Trying to juggle the 2 cups of hot tea for them and a can of coffee for myself out of a vending machine isn't exactly easy. With some careful maneuvering, though, I manage to keep everything stable and upright as I walk over to the bench where Lilly and Hanako are sitting and chatting. It's actually quite a nice place, lit only by moonlight. It's tucked away some distance from the main events. Compared to how hot it has been during day, this spot is also pleasant cool by now. Nah, not that it matters that much. Most of the visitors have moved to the areas that are either closer to the fireworks or higher on the hill in order to view the display apparently planned.
Welcome back, Hisao.
Her ears are good. I'm not exactly close and even Hanako hadn't noticed me. Here you go. Sorry, it's instant, but that's all they had left by now. Hanako gingerly takes a cup from my right hand and I gently place the other into Lily's outstretched hands.
Did you enjoy the festival then, Hisao?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. An honest answer. Much of the food may have been somewhat subpar, but it was a lot of fun at the end, especially with Hanako and Lilly. In fact, I think those two may have enjoyed themselves even more than I did. With both Lilly and me around, much of Hanako's withdrawn nature around others died down, enough for her to enjoy herself. As we sit drinking, the whistle of the first firework rings out before it explodes into a vibrant shower of blue against the night sky, heralding the beginning of the end for the festival. Enthusiastic shouts can be heard from the crowds, scattered around the school grounds, celebrating them. For minutes on end, Hanako and I watch the fireworks overhead as Lilly blissfully listens to them with her eyes shut. Red, green, yellow, star-shaped, circular, patterned, and all manner of shapes and colors fill the air, one after the other, and dance across the sky. No place near where I lived put on such a lavish displays. Festivals like this were a thing of the past in such a metropolitan area. To be seeing such a sight with these two, it's probably the happiest I've been in a long while.
So, that's it? The festival is ending?
Yeah. She gives a delicate wistful sigh.
As much as I may complain about all the stuff we have to do, it's still sad that we'll have graduated before the next Yamaku festival.
I walk forwards and stand beside Lilly, gently resting a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry. We still have Tanabata later in the year, right?
You're right. It'll be nice to go there when it comes.
Minutes of silence pass, with only the blast of the fireworks to be heard. Seeing these two reminds me of those words of advice Lilly had given me as we walked into the town together.
Cherish the opportunity to make new friends, huh?
Hey Lilly. She turns her head slightly to show that she's listening, Hanako's gaze still firmly fixed on the technicolor fireworks bursting overhead. You mind if I join you two for tea every now and again? The smile face is more than enough to see her answer.
It would be a pleasure, Hisao.
Hell yeah! Tomorrow we are starting Act 2. Also, you know what? I maybe I'm not correct, but that little cutscene somehow tells me that Lilly was not born incapable of seeing. So I guess something must have happened that caused her eyesight to be gone. Maybe we'll learn what's happened exactly. Anyway, for now, hope you enjoyed. That was a lovely episode. I really liked the last part when he's like, "Hey, mind if I join you for tea now and then?" Really nice, smooth, love it. Anyway, tomorrow we continue Act 2 of Lilly's route, and yeah, we'll see where this is going. Hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.